All right, unit 1.5. Angle addition postulate. It's dealing with angles and adding them together, and it's a rule that applies. Angle addition postulate, right? So in a graph like this, where you have ABC and then you have D in the middle, if D is in the interior, if the ray here is in the interior, meaning inside of the bigger angle, then this angle, ABD, plus this angle, DBC, will equal the total, ABC. All right, so logic, right? This piece plus this piece equals the total, this piece. Two parts equals the total. All right, that's just common sense, y'all. All right, so it says use the diagram. Let's see if we can make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Remember, you can always pause, rewind, and rewatch. No excuses. All right, use the diagram below to answer questions 1 and 2. All right, if the measure of ABD is 48 degrees and the measure of DBC is 78 degrees, find the measure of ABC. If it gives you angles, label the angles. If it doesn't give you angles, draw the angles, label the angles. Your angles don't have to be perfect. What has to be right is your information, right? So if you have ABD, which is this one, is 48 degrees, and then you have DBC, which is this one, is 78 degrees, right? And then what it's asking for is ABC. ABC is the total. So if it's asking for the total, then you just add them together. This angle plus this angle equals the total. So what is 48 and 78? That's 100, let's see, that's 16, 11, so 126? 126, and you have to put the degree symbol or it's not right. So if they're asking for the total, you add the angles together. If they're asking for the total, add the angles together. All right? Now, if the measure of angle DBC is 74, and the measure of ABC, which is the total, is, let's just call this, no, I don't want to do it that way. Let's call this angle, it's this piece. It's the total from here to here, right? If the total is 119 degrees, find ABD. They want you to find this piece. That's our unknown, our missing, our unknown. So we're going to call it X, right? So this plus this equals this, right? X plus 74 equals 119. If you label your angles, then it's super easy to do the equation. So, to get a better idea of what we're working with, we're going to work with numbers 3, 4, and 10. 10, why? Because we like a challenge. Alright? So, it's the same rules, we're just doing algebra now, right? Algebra is inside geometry. So, if PQR is 141, PQR is the total, right? This whole thing together is 141. Find each measure. they've already labeled PQS and SQR for you. All you have to do is solve for x, isolate the x, right? Create your equation, which is this plus this equals this. So just write that. Write exactly that. 13x plus 4 plus 10x minus 1 equals 141. This is why we label our angles, because it makes creating the equation super easy. This plus this equals this, no matter what it is. All right, follow the steps. What's step 1? Combine like terms. All right, 13x and 10x is 23x. 4 minus 1 is a positive 3. Don't forget that positive sign. Or if it's a negative sign. Because it's your operator, it tells you what to do. Don't forget it. Equals 141. Your next step is to move variables, right, to one side or the other. It doesn't matter. Whichever side you move the variables to, you move the constant and the coefficient to the other side. You're trying to isolate the x. Get it by itself. Move your variables. You use inverse property. In this one, we don't have any variables to move because there's no variables on both sides of the equal sign. So we can go straight to the next step, which is cancel the constant using inverse property. Inverse property means the opposite. Right? Right now, it's a plus 3. The opposite would be to subtract 3. We do it to both sides. Whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other to keep it balanced and fair. All right? So now we have 23x equals 138. The last step is to cancel the coefficient. Again, using inverse property. And cancel coefficients. Our coefficient is the number before the variable. In this case, 23. And this is 23 times x. The opposite of multiplication is division. Right? So now we know x equals 6. Make sure you go back and read the question. That's not enough because it wants us to find each measure. Right? So now that we know that x is 6, we can replace x with 6. So 13x plus 4 becomes 13 times 6 plus 4. 13 times 6, 6 times 10 is 60, 6 times 3 is 18, 60 and 18 is 78. And that's how you do math in your head. 78 and 4 is 82. Right? Make sure if it's talking about the angle, if it has the angle symbol, make sure you put the little symbol, 82 degrees. Right? Same thing with SQR. SQR is 10x minus 1. We're going to replace x with 6. 10 times 6 minus 1 is 60, minus 1 is 59 degrees. 59 degrees. If you don't put the degree symbol, it's not right. Take advantage of the ability to pause, rewind, because, well, I'm moving quickly. All right, label. The measure of angle DEF is 7x plus 4. DEF. So the total is 7x plus 4. The total is 7x plus 4. The measure of DEG is 5x plus 1. And the measure of GEF is 23 degrees. Same rules apply. This plus this equals this. That's angle addition postulate. If you add the two angles together, you will always get the total. Right? So 5x plus 1 plus 23 equals 7x plus 4. Combine like terms. 23 plus 1 is 24. 5x plus 24 equals 7x plus 4. Step 2, move your variables. I prefer to move my variables left. You do you. But whichever direction you move the variables, move your constant and coefficient the other direction. It's a positive 7x, so we're going to subtract 7x. Negative 2x. It's a positive 24, so we're going to subtract 24. Moving on to the next step. Cancel the constant, right? So it's going to equals. I told you once you understood the process, you could start skipping steps. And once you truly understand the process, I'll show you how to use the calculator to do it instead. But only when you understand the process. Because the calculator is faster, but it's not going to make sense. The answer is going to be crazy, and you're not going to know the answer is crazy if you don't take the time to understand the process. Negative 2 times x, let's divide by negative 2. Now we know x is 10. So if we know x is 10, DEG is 5x plus 1. 50 plus 1, 51 degrees. And then DEF is 7x plus 4. 7x plus 4. 70 plus 4. 74 degrees. All right? Now let's do 10 just because we need a challenge. 10 makes us actually think, what do we know about angles? And then it makes you use that information, right? It makes you use that information. So let's do it. This is the angles we're working with. It looks insane. E's my vertex. It looks like we have a 90-degree angle, but let's wait and see if they tell us. It also looks like we have a bisector, cutting it in half. Let's wait. All right. So if BD bisects CBE, bisects, cuts in half, creates two equal pieces, that means this piece and this piece are equal. All right? BC and BA, BC and BA are perpendicular, meaning they create a 90-degree angle. We can label that. 90-degree angles have to be 90 degrees. So we already know what that one is. It's going to give you all the clues, our little math detectives. Your job is to take the clues, put together the puzzle, and solve the mystery. I think I'm going to call us math detectives, because that's what we are. And the measure of CBD is 3x plus 25. CBD is 3x plus 25. And the measure of DBE is 7x minus 19. Find ABD. So they want you to find, let's do it red. They want you to find ABD. They want you to find this angle. In order to find that angle, it's this angle plus this angle. We know that this is 90. We don't know what that is, which means we need to solve for x. But what we do know is that this angle and this angle are equal. Use the clues. This angle plus this angle are equal. We can set it up that way. 3x plus 25 is equal to 7x minus 19. And now we can isolate the x. All right? Get the variables on the same side. Get the constants on the other side. Negative 4x equals negative 44. Cancel the coefficients. X equals 11. Now that we know what x is, we can use that information to figure out what CBD is. Alright, so CBD is 3x plus 25. But now we know that x is 11 plus 25. 33 plus 25 is 58 degrees. Right, so now we know this is 58 degrees. If they asked us, could we tell them what this one was? Well, they're equal. So if this is 58 degrees, this has to be 58 degrees. But it's okay because they're not asking us that. Right? They're asking us this. 90 and 58 is asking for ABD, which is 90 and 58. 90 and 58 is 148 degrees. That's your answer. Make sure you have the degree symbol or it's wrong. Use what you're given. Use what you know. Put the clues together. Solve the mystery. When you're ready, come get the practice sheet.